Hey y'all, welcome back to the Late Night Vision Show. This is episode number 50, the big 50, and I am Jason, owner of OutdoorLegacyGear.com, specializing in night vision and thermal optics of all kinds. And as always, I've got my co-host Hans from the Hans ETX YouTube channel with me tonight. Hans, how are you?
Episode 50, man, that is amazing. I think we've got a little something to talk about later to celebrate that. But you want to know what?
Go ahead.
Well, last week, we talked about pig pipes, and that motivated me. Me and my youngest daughter, Hadley, we made so many pig pipes last weekend that I got blisters on my hands. And she wanted to do everything. Daddy, I want to cut the pipe. I want to drill the holes. So it probably took us about 4 times longer than it should have. But we made a bunch of pig pipes, got them all put out, got corn put in them, and just sitting back waiting, kicking back with a cold drink in my hand, waiting for them pigs to show up.
I want to say 2 things about Hans and the pig pipes. Number one, you had your daughter helping you, so it doesn't matter how long it took. That was good. So that was a good time, well spent. But I'll tell you this. Hans called me and he said, man, I thought these pig pipes were cheap. You said they were cheap to build. And I said, they were, man. Like, I don't know, 10, 15 bucks of material. You got stuff laying around. He was like, man, I just left the hardware store and I spent like $150. And I'm like, how many of these things are you going to build? So I don't know, but I'm thinking that knowing the way Hans does things, if one pig pipe is good, he thinks that you need like 3 pig pipes all touching each other. So I imagine he built about 50 of these things, but anyway, we'll see.
It's like tightening a bolt. If really tight is good, then tighten it down 4 or 5 more turns past that is even better until it strips out.
Or you break the bolt and it happens to be on a $5,000 thermal scope, and then you call me needing more bolts. But anyway, we won't get into all that, right?
I have had to drill out a mount on a thermal scope before, so that has happened. Hey,
I remember quite well.
But
well, folks, Hans mentioned something there about this being episode 50, and we're going to tease something out. We are going to have a giveaway. This is going to be a big giveaway for our 52nd show, for our 1-year anniversary of the Late Night Vision Show. And we are going to tell you all about this giveaway and how you can get signed up later in the show. So you need to listen. Don't leave yet. Listen to the whole show.
Definitely.
We're going to tell you how to get entered and what we're going to be giving away.
Right. Well, before we get into all that, and we're going to be getting into the Sightmark Wraith versus the Photon RT. We're going to be getting into lining up those 2 scopes. But we got a little bit of news on the Accions. The drip has been turned on, but it's just a drip right now.
It's a slow drip.
Drip.
It is. So, yeah, we've been waiting, patiently waiting. Wait, honestly, has not been too long. The Accions were announced by Pulsar in January at the SHOT Show. The Accions are their new affordable line of handheld thermal monoculars. And I know I say affordable, and there's some guys out there listening going, yeah, that's not affordable.
Right.
But for thermal, it's very affordable, for all things considered in perspective. Mm-hmm. The 3 models, we will be talking about these more here very soon on the show. But you got 3 models starting at $18.99, $21.99, and then $25.99. And those models have shipped, and as of us recording this show, they were actually delivered to the Outdoor Legacy warehouse today, and Hans and I will be getting our hands on those units tomorrow. We will get one of each of those units, and we're going to be testing them out. Now, I've got a lot of those of each different unit pre-sold, and so I just want to go ahead and say, if you're listening to this, if you haven't heard from me by the time that this podcast comes out on Thursday, then yours did not come in yet. So we got a very small number of these. We got varying amounts. There was one model. We actually only got one. Hans and I can't even. We're going to have to share a demo on this thing because we only got one of them. Some of the other units we got up to, several, like a lot. I don't want to say how many, but a lot more than one. Right. But we still haven't filled all these pre-orders. So I just want to say, stick with us. Pulsar said, hey, look, this is the very first shipment of these things. So they're going to start trickling in. The shipments are going to get better. and just stick with us. And as soon as we get them, we're going to be giving y'all a call and letting you know. And hopefully, from what I've been told, it should be in fairly short order, a matter of weeks, that we should get enough of these things that we hopefully have, going to have them on the shelf and be able to supply the demand for them for people that don't have pre-orders. So very excited about them, and stay tuned to the Late Night Vision show, because in the coming weeks, Hans and I will be talking more about them and giving a full review of each model and a comparison and what have you.
Yep. I got a buddy that's waiting on Accion. He's waiting very patiently, but he is very excited. But so the Wraiths had come in. The first batch has been sent out. We've got a second pre-order list, and that second pre-order list is already filled up.
It's full.
Yeah.
It is. So getting a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails, and that list is absolutely full. And so this is the deal. Now, I know a lot of guys are probably tired of hearing us talk about the Wraith, but right now it is the buzz in the night vision industry. I know Hans and I have just talked on and on about how big of a buzz this thing has been and the stir it's caused, so we just can't ignore it. It's what's going on right now. And it is. We've sold out of all the units that, or most all the units that we expect to get. I try to be conservative and, basically guarantee or promise whatever less than I think I'm actually going to get. So, at the end of the day, we're going to get what they send us. And what they tell me today we're going to get, and what they say, yes, you're going to get this, I know that in 3 months, anything can happen. Their order can be shorted, whatever. So I'm just going off what they say, and then I'm trying to be conservative and cutting back off of that. So all the units I'm comfortable saying that I'm, feel like I'm pretty, certain to get, those are sold. If you still want to put in a pre-order deposit on one, you absolutely can. If we have extras, or I do get all that I'm really hoping to get, then we'll still be filling more orders. After that, after this July shipment, Sightmark says that we should expect monthly shipments starting in August, maybe September. I'm not sure exactly which. I'm going to say September again just to be safe. But at that point, there'll be monthly shipments, and the supply should be better. But I still think for a while, even into September, October, I think it's still going to be, probably not sitting around on the shelves everywhere.
Right. So those are the updates on the thermal handhelds and the Wraith. So
one more thing before we go further. Yes, one quick thing. I still do have the QD mounts in stock.
Yeah.
And so if you want one of those, even if you say, hey, I'm not going to get one until July, whatever, go ahead and buy the QD mount now, just because Sightmark does not have any more of these, and we don't have any kind of ETA on when they're going to be here. And so I've got a lot of guys that are like, hey, go ahead, I'll take the QD mount now, I'll get the Wraith when it gets here, but at least I've got that. They don't want to take it, sight it in, and then have to wait around, get the QD mount, and re-zero it. So if you want them, we've still got some in stock at OutdoorLegacyGear.com.
All right, so all the business is out of the way. Let's get to some Wraith and Photon talk. So basically what we're going to do, we've done the full review of the Wraith recently. In the past, we've done a lot of talk on the Photon. So really, we've got a lot of people that are calling in, asking, writing emails, asking about, our opinions of the Photon versus the Wraith. And we're at a point now that we've used both scopes a lot, and more recently with the Wraiths. So we're just going to run through the specs of both of the different scopes. I'm going to start with the Wraith right now. We're going to have a little discussion after that and kind of compare and contrast. We're going to get started right now with this Sightmark Wraith HD, and I'm just going to run down these specs real quick, Jason, just so the listeners can kind of get an idea of what we're working with. So Sightmark Wraith HD, so it's got a base magnification of 4 power, and it goes up to 32 power. It's an 8 times digital zoom. It does have video recording, and it records to a micro SD card. 9 different reticle choices, 8 different reticle colors. I don't know if you're going to get in all this detail, but I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there, Jason. It does have high resolution imaging, records in 1080p. Runs on 4 AA batteries. The scope itself does. The IR light runs on 2 of the CR123A batteries. Has a 50 millimeter objective lens. It does have a mount that comes with the scope. So that's an important thing to know when ordering the scope. It does come with a mount. I don't know. Did I miss anything as far as the important specs?
No, I don't think you did at all.
That was pretty quick.
It was very quick. On the recording, I will mention on the Wraith that it does record to a micro SD card. It's not internal recording, so that's good, bad, or indifferent. And so let's go down real quick on the Photon. Basically, there's multiple models of the Photon. I'm not going to get into all these models. I'm going to pull one of these, and I'm going to pull it and say this is going to be our comparison because it is the standard, the base model. It's by far the most popular model, and that is the Sightmark Photon RT 4.5 by 42 S model. And that unit, I'm not going to explain all the different specs on the Photons right now, but that is the unit that most everyone purchases. So quick specs, it is a 4.5 power 42 millimeter objective lens. It has internal video recording. It has a built-in infrared illuminator. It has multiple brightness settings on the illuminator. It does have multiple reticle options, multiple colors on the reticles. It also has the Stream Vision smartphone app that you can connect to your smartphone or tablet and actually stream to that. The video recording does have audio. That's something that the Wraith does not have. And trying to think if there's anything that I'm missing on that. I think that's the basic specs. I do want to throw out, well, you know what? I'm going to wait on that. We'll talk about it in just a second. Let's wait. Let's just, that's the basic specs on them. So you can kind of compare, what you've got there. Let's talk price real quick. That's important. The Wraith is $499. As Hans mentioned, it does come with a mount. So that is included with it. If you do want to buy like the QD mount, you're looking at another $60. So $500 as is, $560 if you want the QD mount. The Photon, this particular model, 4.5 by 42S, is $549, and it is looks like a standard scope. It has a tube, 30 millimeter tube. It does not have rings. They need to be a special, specific height. So those are a little more difficult to find. The best bet is to buy those, the Sightmark rings that are made for it. And they, depending on the model of ring, whether you get the regular ring or the QD ring, you're looking at basically $50 to about $66, $65. So an out-the-door price for a Photon with rings is a minimum of $600 compared to $500 for the Wraith. So it's $100 more.
So let's do this. Let's just take a look at kind of the differences, like the easy glaring differences. And
Sure.
I've had people ask, does the Wraith use the Stream Vision app? It does not use the Stream Vision app. So there's one difference right there. Good, bad, or indifferent. It's up to you, but that is one difference right there, right off the top.
Yeah, so you cannot, let's be clear, there's no smartphone app. You cannot stream from this. There is no video out port on the Wraith. You can't plug in an external DVR or a screen or anything like that. So it is only for the user looking through the eyepiece. That's right. So good, bad, or indifferent.
Another difference, I would say, the Wraith has a detached IR light that you can switch and mount to either side, and we talked about it in the review video.
Or remove it completely.
Remove it completely. A lot of people during the day, they take it off completely, hunt with it during the day. One of the huge thing that we missed, Jason, the Wraith has full color daytime mode, which that's
minor detail. It's just a minor detail.
That is, folks listening at home, that is the biggest difference, and
it's huge.
The big difference being during the day with the Wraith, when you look through the viewfinder, it is full color HD picture, and hallelujah, it looks beautiful. I was out.
It is beautiful.
I had a buddy that bought a Wraith today, took it out. We helped him sight it in and used it during the day. Sighted it in, looked fantastic.
It is. It looks great. Now while we're talking about that, let's compare that to the Photon. The Photon is black and white all the time, day and night, and the problem is because it's still black and white during the day, you're not flipping off the infrared. You're not, you're not changing that filter or anything. So what happens is it is constantly trying to brighten that image. And so when it's bright outside, it's still trying to brighten the image. And what most of the time you have to do during the day, it does not hurt the scope if you don't, but you can close the lens cap. There is a pinhole in it. The scope will see through that pinhole and kind of block out some of that light. And it is still black and white, and it is not a great image. And this is just what I tell people about the Photon. It is a nighttime scope that just happens to work during the day.
Yeah.
Meaning you are not going to ever put this beside the cheapest Walmart daytime scope and say, hey, this is just as good as that. It's not. It is not a daytime scope.
So that being a huge difference, another difference, the base magnification on the Wraith says it's at 4 power. The Photon RT is base of 4.5. But Jason has some breaking news on that front. No, I'm joking.
I do have. I don't know if it's breaking, but hey, I tell you what, we're going to do one quick thing here. If anybody who's watching this YouTube video, I'm fixing to stand up and I'm going to plug in my camera because it says that it's fixing to go dead. So we're going to. I know. Can you believe that? It said it was fully charged. So,
yeah. While you're doing that, I'm going to talk because. Jason got a chance to put these scopes side by side. This was a very unscientific test, but lining those scopes up side by side with the Photon RT at 4.5 base and the Wraith at 4 power base magnification. Jason, you said that you felt like the Wraith had a little bit more magnification than the Photon.
I did, and anybody who's watching this now, they're like, what in the world is this guy doing? I'm up, and I'm plugging cords, and my camera's shaking. And
we're keeping it really classy on episode 50, y'all.
Hey, that's right. Hey, anybody who's listened to us for 50 episodes knows we're just a bunch of East Texas rednecks. We're lucky to make it to episode 5, much less 50. I think they're just sticking around to see if we fail,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I did. So I really wanted to look at this. I've put these things side by side multiple times, but it wasn't something that I had really, looked to see, is this the same? So tonight I went out there just to be sure because my gut kept telling me that the Wraith had a little more magnification than the Photon RT 4.5, and it does. Now, how much it's really hard to say. I was, again, side by side looking at different things. I was looking at cows in my pasture. I was looking at the corner of the barn. I was looking at a lot of different things, and it has slightly more magnification. So Hans and I have talked about this in the past, and we found this on other scopes. What does that mean? Does that mean that the Wraith is more than 4 power? Or does it mean that the Photon is less than 4.5? Right. I don't know. I really don't know which it is. I suspect that this Wraith is more than 4 power. I would, if we believe the Photon is 4.5 power, then I would say that this Wraith is, 4.8 or something. I'm just making a number up. It's not scientific for sure.
It was the same kind of thing that we ran into with the halos, the thermal scopes with the halos with their magnifications. It's who's right, is our
right.
The standard.
Who's the standard?
Yeah, who's the standard? So, it's kind of an eye test, gut feeling that the Wraith might be a little bit more magnification. So, to each his own, and you can get out there and look at it, but it's not going to be a sizable enough difference that you're going to be like, wow, this is way too much or a huge difference. But
no, it's not. No, it's fine, but it is worth mentioning. Mm-hmm. I think that the next thing I want to talk about quickly here is I want to talk about the size and the weight difference because I get that question a lot, and I have made no bones about it on this show and talking to anybody that I keep saying that the Wraith is like a brick. But look, folks, y'all come here for hopefully, as unbiased information as we can give, as truthful as we can give, and we call them like we see them. And I think it's a great scope, but it is heavy. So I did some comparisons, and this is scientific because I did use some very nice postage scales to test this. Nice. But the Photon RT 4.5 42S with batteries in it, and we need to talk about batteries too, by the way. Yeah. With batteries is 15.5 ounces, including rings. So just a standard set of Sightmark rings, so ready to put on your rifle, ready to roll. It is 15.5 ounces. I'm sorry, that's not right. It's
Sounds
not
very low.
15.5. Yeah, it is low. Those are inches. Those are inches. Yeah, keeping it classy on 50. It's imploding.
Wheels
All
are
right,
falling
so
off the wagon, huh?
yeah, they fell off. All right, it's 2 pounds and 4 ounces. That sound better?
Mm-hmm.
So 2 pounds 4 ounces for the Photon. The Wraith with the illuminator is 2 pounds and 15 ounces. So that is a full 11 ounces more. You like that math there? I did that. I didn't screw that up, and I got my shoes on. So it's 11 ounces more. Now, real quick before you jump in, I was going to say this: if you take the illuminator off, it's for like daytime use. Yeah. Now, side by side, it's 2.6 ounces versus 2.4. So same weight. The illuminator is adding that weight.
And I know you're going to get into this, but the Photon it seems like it's quite a bit longer of a scope than the Wraith, and maybe that weight distribution makes it feel a little bit lighter. But you're right. I mean, the Wraith, and I said it on the review video that I did on my YouTube channel. It's a brick. It's a solid little brick there.
It is.
But
yeah. So speaking of the length, I've already confused there. Yeah. The Photon is 15.5 inches long. This is with the rubber eyepiece on, so the full length is 15.5. The Wraith with the rubber eyepiece eye cup on it is 10.5. So it is a full 5 inches longer. And I think there's no question, anybody who's seen or handled a Photon, I'm holding one up for the YouTube viewers, and I can't even get it all in this video. It's so long. And that's fine, but it does. The weight is more on this front end where all the electronics are. Then there's a little bit of weight back on the eyepiece. So I think it is. It's the middle is light. The ends are a little heavier. It's just distributed differently.
Right.
No question about it. And when you take all that same weight plus more and compact it, it's obviously going to feel heavier. Well, I mean, and it is heavier.
Now, since we got all the main differences, I think, out of the way, and if we think of any, we'll throw them in there. But I'm going to go ahead and start with my feelings on the two different scopes. After using the Wraith for like the last 3 weeks now and hunting with it a lot and testing it and using it out in the field a bunch, for a night vision scope, I am in love with that scope. The idea of being able to, and I was telling a buddy, the idea of being able to take a scope out in the field, keep a rifle in your truck, and go out and shoot hogs at day and at night with the same rifle. It's just, to me, there are no downsides to the Wraith. And like I said, I completely, for a night vision scope, and everybody knows I love my thermal scopes. But if you're asking me right now for night vision, I'm definitely going with the Wraith. And really, I think it all has to do with the fact that it's full color HD during the day, and it's got such a crystal clear picture at night that, and I'm talking about some longer distances too. Just overall impressed with the whole package.
Yeah, and I want to say this. I want to talk about some nighttime use of these things side by side. In just a minute, we can kind of get into that. But talking about the daytime, this is something that I probably have to eat a little bit of crow on, because for years we've been comparing the Photons to the ATN X sights, and I've sold X sights over the years. We quit selling them. Without getting into all of that, just basically quality control issues, just reliability, the lack of customer service on AT. And we've talked about some of this before on the podcast, so it's not a secret. And, if you go out there and you read the reviews on these X sites, you're going to see it. And so I've always...
Cue the hate mail now. Go ahead.
I know, exactly. But for years I've told guys, how big a deal is full color during the day? Do you really care about that? Do you really need that? Well, it was easy for me to say that because I was talking about a scope that I didn't have confidence in. I did not have confidence in the scope's reliability. I did not and still do not like the nighttime use right out of the box, the abilities and capabilities of the X sights. And so it was just an easy thing to say. It's already a scope that, to be honest, I didn't like. I didn't think was something I could recommend. Now, putting this in a package that I really do like and I really can recommend, I'm like, oh, wow. I can see that this is actually a nice feature to have. Now, is everybody going to use it? Absolutely not. But, I mean, and this, Hans, talking to guys, there's a lot of people that say this. They say, look, I'm not throwing away my daytime deer hunting rifle to go hunt with this thing. But what I do want to do is I might go out to the deer lease, or I might go out to my place at 6 o'clock in the evening, an hour and a half before dark, and sit there waiting on hogs, and then, or, coyotes, whatever. But then I want to still have the same rifle and the same scope. And when it gets dark, I can hunt.
Right.
And in the past, I say, well, you can do that with the Photon. It's not great. Now I can say you can do it with the Wraith, and it's great.
Looks great.
I mean, it really is. It's great.
That's a big distinction. And so, that's a lot of people, the feedback that we get, and that the reason why they want it and why they were instantly drawn to it is for that daytime color mode. Not to beat around the bush about some of the concerns. Anytime you have a new scope, a new model come out, there's always concern about glitches and whatever could go wrong. But overall, the feedback has been very positive from people that have the Wraith in their hands. Like I said, I've had one for 3 weeks, and I'm impressed for their rollout of a brand new model, a brand new scope. I'm impressed with the quality that has gone out there in the beginning.
I absolutely agree. I will say this: there are a couple glitches that I think are known at this point. I think some of them can be fixed with firmware. I haven't experienced all these glitches. I say all these. I know of 2, and I think this is. Well, I'm gonna back up and say one more thing. I sold a lot of these. Okay, we got a lot of these on the first pre-order, and I've had one customer, and I know he's going to know who he is because he listens to the show, and he has had 2 problems with his scope, and so he's the only person that I'm aware of that I've sold one to that's had the problem. I mean, if there's somebody out there that's having problems, y'all call me and let me know, but I've not heard from anyone else. So I feel really good about that. That's a very low percentage.
Right.
No matter what scope you sell this many of, but much less a brand new scope. And so I think it is very good. I will say that is the benefit right here. If we're going to tilt the scales, that's the benefit to the Photon. The Photon is tried and true. It's on its 3rd generation. It's been around since 2014, and it is just a known unit. To be honest, there hasn't hardly ever been any bugs on the Photons, but anything that was in there has been worked through. They just flat out work. They're extremely dependable. And so, again, while I don't have anything against the Wraith there, I cannot say anything negative about the Photons. So if this comes down to you don't want to be the early adopter, you don't want to find out if there's any problems, then hey, maybe the Photon's for you, because it is tried and true. And this RT model has been around for 2 years now, over 2 years. And so it's the real deal. So if that is a concern, it's one thing to consider. But hey, we need to jump into this. These are night vision scopes. We've talked all about the daytime. We've talked about the video recording, but we have not compared these 2 units side by side and talked about what they'll do at night. And that's why you're buying a night vision scope.
That's right. So I'm going to give you my opinion of both of them. Both of them are very good scopes. Both of them are very capable. I think that at night, the Wraith edges out the picture of the Photon, not by much, but I think a little bit it does edge out as far as the crystal. To me, I'm going to say crystal clear, but a very clear image for an infrared scope, a digital scope, and I'm going to go ahead and give the nod to the Wraith on that.
I don't think there's any question. I absolutely agree. The Wraith wins. The Wraith also wins for the distance you can see. I was blown away by how good and how far you could see with the Photon RTs when they came out. I still contend to this day that the RT has the brightest built-in illuminator on any digital night vision scope ever manufactured. It is very bright, but the Wraith has an external illuminator, so it's obviously easier to get a brighter light when it's external and larger and all those things, running on its own battery source. So yes, you can see further and you can see better with the Wraith. The Photon's still really good, but I think the biggest thing for me, and we both talked about this on our review videos of the Photon, and I know we've mentioned it probably on the show at other times, but that is the fact that the RTs the Photon RTs have a very sensitive focus.
Yep.
And a lot of times it's very difficult to get just right in sharp focused at those longer distances. And you're like, oops, I'm out of focus. Oops, which way? And you just really fine adjusting. And it's a short focus range. So if you're looking at something at 100 yards and you're looking at something at 175, it needs to be refocused. And I do not have that focus sensitivity issue on the Wraith. So I'm definitely going to give the Wraith the better focus. I'm also going to give it the better image quality at night specifically.
Yeah.
And I want to add one quick thing here. I know that there's guys that are listening to this and they're saying, yeah, Jason's just saying all this because it's the new scope and that's just what, folks, I have Sightmark Photon RTs piled up on the shelf right now in my warehouse. Okay. They're still for sale on my website. And I'm talking about, I have inventory of these things. Race, I've already told you, we're pre-sold for the shipment we're getting 3 months from now. Right. So this is not just me trying to sell the new thing, because if this was just about selling something, I'd be telling you how great the Photon is. And I still think it's a great scope. I don't think anybody is making a mistake by buying the Photon. There's things on the Wraith that a lot of people don't want and they're never going to use, and they want a simple to use scope. I'll go back and say this. If all you're ever going to do is shoot at night under, 150 yards, and you just want something simple, tried and true, then the Photon is a great answer for that.
Yep.
There's no question.
Yeah. And if you're listening to this, this is recorded in April 2019. For those on YouTube or the podcast, they might be listening to it several months down the road. Several months down the road, we could have a bunch of these in stock, and availability is not an issue at all. But right now, like you said, the Wraiths have been moving quick, and the pre-order lists are wrapped up, and really, it's
that's
tough,
right.
Tough to get.
Yeah,
one.
and that's true. By the time you watch this or listen, it could be way down the road, and we could have them piled up by the dozens. But I'm just making the point that I just don't want people to think they're just always pushing the new stuff, and that's really not what this is about. I mean, it's a less expensive scope. I make less money on it, okay? But it's a legitimate, really good, nice scope, and we like it. So just real quick, I'll say this. I think that the Wraith, in my opinion, is going to win in every category for me personally, except the weight. Mm-hmm. All right, so it doesn't win the weight. I think the reliability of the Wraith so far has been actually astonishingly good, but I still think I'm going to reserve judgment there and say, I got to wait. Let's see what this thing's doing in 6 months. Let's see what it's doing in a year. So for that, I think tried and true, I'm going to go with the Photon just because it's a known product. But other than those two things, I think the Wraith is going to win all the way down to, I think it's just as easy to use. I think everything about it, otherwise, I'm going to say either matches or beats the Photon.
All right. So that is Photon and Wraith talk, and good news right now, because if you want a Wraith, you can get a chance to win one. Ain't that right?
Listen to this.
It's giveaway time, y'all. Episode 50.
Time. Episode 50. Again, now I want to talk about this right now. It is April 2019. If you were listening to this is episode 50. We're going to give away a Wraith on episode 52. So if you're listening to this in May, June, July, it's too late, all right? Or whatever year. This is 2019, April. But we are, for our 1 year, the 52nd episode of the Late Night Vision Show, we are going to give away a brand new Sightmark Wraith 4x50 HD on this show, and I'm excited about it. These, again, you cannot find these on the shelf, but we have one just for this purpose, and we're gonna give it away. And let me tell you what you need to do to enter. First thing you do is you send $10 to, no, okay, maybe not. No, yeah, 10 to Hans, 10 to Jason. No, that's not how you enter, but it will help your chances of winning.
It's
but
like Publishers Clearinghouse or something. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah.
How many magazine subscriptions do I got to buy?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. No purchase required. But we want this giveaway, we want it to be for our listeners.
Right.
And so we're not going to ask you to do goofy things and go sign up on social media and follow us and like us. We want you to do all those things. And we're going to make some mentions of this on social media, but we're not going to go out there and just, flood social media with this, because this is really for you. This is for the guys who listen and gals who listen week in, week out, or maybe, you don't listen to everyone, but you listen when you can. And we appreciate you, because without you, we wouldn't be here. So here's all you've got to do. Very simple. If you just go to thelatenightvisionshow.com, thelatenightvisionshow.com. When you get there, there will be a 1 year giveaway, or I don't know what we're going to call it. So I think that's 1 year giveaway. There'll be a link there you can click on. You'll enter your name, your phone number, your email address, and answer a couple quick questions. And those questions are just like basically, how long have you been listening, and how often do you listen, and where'd you find the show? And we just, it doesn't matter if this is your first time to listen. Give us truthful answers. We're gonna randomly choose a winner. So we don't think that we're gonna, you can game the system by saying you've listened to every episode. That's not what this is about. But you'll sign up there, and the only reason we're asking for your phone number is so that we can call you if you win. We're not going to call you. We're not going to bug you, anything like that. But that's all you got to do. Sign up. It will send us an email when you're signed up. When you click submit there, you just do it one time, and your name's in the hat to win. We're going to do this all week for this week, and then next week we'll talk about it again on episode 51, and then on episode 52 we will be announcing the winner of the Wraith, courtesy of Outdoor Legacy.
That is awesome. What a huge giveaway. I'm telling you, these things are almost impossible to get right now. There's so many people. I'm taking so many phone calls every day of people that want one, that cannot get one. And I'm going to tell you, what a great way to really thank the people out there that are listening. Like Jason said, we're not blasting this on social media to try to get followers on Facebook or Instagram. We're not making you go follow 3 different pages and and share. All we want you to do, this is for the listeners. That's why we kind of buried this at the end of the show, is because we want our loyal listeners to be have a chance to win. 1 entry per person, and we will draw, like Jason said, on episode 52. But we are excited. I'm excited. And I hope we get a lot of people to enter to win, because we want to thank y'all. This has been 1 year. It's been great for us. I hope it's been as good for y'all as it's been for us. We have fun doing it. And just thank y'all for listening every week. With all that being said, thank you for joining us again this week. You can go find us on Instagram, The Late Night Vision Show. You can find us on Facebook under the same name, The Late Night Vision Show. Please go check out Outdoor Legacy Gear. You can find it at outdoorlegacygear.com. Please call Jason with any questions, or if you want to purchase any night vision or thermal scopes, you can call him at 877-350-1818. You can also go check out Outdoor Legacy Gear on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Instagram. You can find me on YouTube at HansETX. You can also find me on Instagram only at HansETX under the same name. So please go like us, go follow us. We share pictures all the time. I do on my YouTube channel, I do review videos. I do hunting videos on a weekly basis. And we just appreciate y'all watching this week. Go register right now. Don't waste any time. Get onto the latenightvision.show.com website and register for our giveaway for episode 52 of the Sightmark Wraith. Somebody's going to get to take one of these home with them. So we're excited about that. Thank you for joining us again this week. Please check us out next week. Stay tuned for all the breaking news in night vision and thermal. And we appreciate it. We'll see y'all next week. Stay safe in the fields and keep making those bacon pancakes.